Yeah, I know. I keep starting the live stream so late, despite being here. CV, Christmas tree. Man, I keep not getting the amount of cents that I want out of these stocks. WINT, I think I'm gonna leave alone. Oh, the VWAP dip. We did miss the VWAP dip there. Yep, I took it off screen for a little bit. The VWAP dip would have been nice, but I don't know about trading it here. Mm, okay. Well, all right. Yeah, so coming back to the other one, CV, I was up 80 cents, 2,000 shares, and I put out my sell order so early, man, that I should have gotten filled immediately. It's like it almost skipped over my order coming back down. Like I sold into green, didn't get filled. It came down. I cancel. I try again, and then I end up only making like what was that? I was in. Let's see. I got 680. No, not that one. There's another trade here. I got 917 to 939, but I was selling at like 980. So that one was pretty tough. And then the dip once we got above 8. Oh man, that one was a gut punch. The dip went to like 788 and I bought it at 799. And I stopped out thinking I bought it too early. And the moment I'm out, it's already back at 860, 890, break of 9. Should have been up closer to 4,000 here. Man, this can't keep happening, man. Missing too many of the sweet moves. WINT, I don't really care about that one. Me, no, I'm fine. This one I'm not super interested in because, you know, CV is more the type of stock I want to trade. Like just straight up, as long as there's some entries along the way, you know? Will we hold up the VWAP this time? Like I wouldn't put size on this one, but there's some people who would prefer this stock actually. I was quick with the pullback, so I'm like, I'm gonna buy this dip right away. The moment it dips, I'm buying. And then I just, it it, it is. I think it was still a good sell because it's possible that we could have dipped down like another 30 cents and then recover. So it was a good sell, but the way how it curled back up, I couldn't really get back in it. It kind of just jumped up to like 830, 850 at that time. It's like, okay, you missed the trade. So the dip over 9, I'm in nicely, perfectly, and then just had some trouble selling. Pre-market, man. Pre-market. It just feels so easy. The word easy is never really the right word, but like to get green on a stock that moves up here feels like nothing, and then the open for now is like the wild, wild west for me. And I guess it really comes down to what I know how to trade, and WINT here bouncing up a little more. So people who love the range, it's holding up. We kind of had it was slow the first 10 minutes, and then we had a couple stocks hit. There's a new high over 22. My I want to see it go to 30, 40, but it seems like this one's already a little too thickly traded. So the range, Shanghai of 30. We might get a new range here. The stock that went to $20, I can't even remember the name, but I didn't think there was a way to trade that one. Like, one, I took maybe a couple seconds extra to pull it up. It's already at 14 or 13 when I'm pulling it up. We're not seeing any ask prices, and it's just the ask is like $5 a share away. It's just I don't know. I haven't really seen that. So now it's EMPG. From when I pulled it up and saw that we had a low of 490 and it's at 14, 13, 14. I'm like, yeah, it's like too late. But then the pullback there, 1280 held up. CV is done, so it is backside. I don't think it'll bounce back at all. That one might be cooked. Still fairly high. And there's a new 5-minute candle too. There's opportunity on this one for sure. The range is working out. Now there's like a new range. But for me, I wouldn't like put out size. Just I'd take like smaller trades. There's 38 for a new high. Ay, ay, ay. Another day. Oh man. You see that last dip didn't really dip down to my liking. So I was in a 27, I'm back out, and we did have a new candlestick at the time. 36. What did I do? Did I not add? How many? Oh, I took small size. I see. I'm on the wrong hotkeys. Oh, come on. Anyhow, still the same trade. And that would have been a decent trade, actually. And my share size, I was only aiming for 1,200 shares there, though. Which would have still been fairly small. Cactus Rob is just that a stock like this, honestly, for what I like, it's like for me, this is like, I don't even want to look at a stock like this. I just want something going straight up. That's it. I need another CV, and then I'll be willing to put out size. I don't know why, but it's like I can't trust these consolidations, man. This one did held up though, so there's opportunity. This last time around one. Like I have no faith in these entries here. Now the VWAP pullback I'd be interested in, but besides that, that's probably the only thing dip wise. For me, the stock feels like a grinder. My intuition is just not there, and so it doesn't make any sense to be aggressive. MLGO. OSTX. Haven't looked at that one. So we're gonna get a hot. We're gonna get a you know, I guess 22 by 25. I suppose. VWAP is at 21. Fair. Fair enough. I could look for like a bear flag reversal here. Okay. I should have been a little quicker to get back in there. Oh, is that 15? I'm only interested in this VWAP pullback here. If this doesn't hold up, then I'm not gonna keep bothering with this. The moment I'm cutting it at 16, there's a big bid. But, small size anyways. Nothing else moving for now. The MACD has inverted, so this could be backside. Could be backside. I'm now checking it out. I haven't had that 1 minute chart pulled up over there. So you know what? To the depths with this trade. $20 loss. STFS. Volume really light on that one. LRHC. LRHC, 13-cent stock. Oh, this VWAP pullback is going to work out. LRHC high of 1350. Let me see how it looks on the chart. It still shows backside. But as we know, no indicator is like 100%, right? But I've been following up with it the last couple of days here. Quick rejection. Not ideal. How will the candlestick close? But I mean, 30, is that enough to sell everything? Probably not. I probably would have sold just a little bit. LRHC. Okay. WINT recovered. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on again then to recover that big wick. But if it dips, it needs to hold up and then retake 35. Well, we don't want to be right back down to 15 again. The VWAP pullbacks are sometimes interesting. At least I think that trade is worth giving a look. But sometimes it also breaks down pretty aggressively on those Christmas tree setups. So you gotta watch out as usual. Let me not touch this thing and just, stick to my guns here. Until something hits this scan, I'm not even gonna stand here because I'm gonna be looking at a bunch of trash stocks. So until this, I'm like right here sitting in this chair, preserving my back from getting cooked. So until something hits the scans, Pastor is just chilling. Pastor is chilling. His stream is off. Let me just double check if anything else. Even this red to green here didn't walking away was the smart thing to do there. EMPG and CV, top two, are in the slums. So it is time to wait on the scanner. Man, I gotta pull up the stocks a little quicker too, I think, is the next thing, because you might be looking at something and then the scanner's hitting, so you don't pull it up right away, and then you end up missing an opportunity. But anyhow, hit the thumbs up, and remember today's a half day as well, right? So even after the open, I think the close will be at 1 p.m. market time. So just keep an eye out for that in case you're holding positions later into the PM. Message restricted. LRHC, cheaper stock is, but unless that takes off to 20, 30 cents, I'm not touching it. Still on the sidelines. EMPG is the only thing kind of hitting the scans here. But this one is beyond cooked. Beyond cooked. So let's look at the scanner here. Got a couple of gap stocks, but again, in terms of something making new highs right now, we're on the sidelines waiting. But so far we had CV and EMPG did give an insane move as well earlier. Man. Yeah, there's been, I think in my experience over the years, there's been more hot days before a holiday than slower days. But that doesn't mean, it wouldn't be slow today, but we've seen some good days, before Christmas, Thanksgiving, other holidays. EMPG. Oh, why did the scanner say it got to $16? I'm like, what? Does it have another run in it? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's likely though. I think it's unlikely that we see anything. This is some good volume in the last candlestick though. The biggest trader in our community. I mean, there's a couple of guys. There are people who are really big that don't really talk to. There's like some background traders who I know they're making. Some of these people they're making 2 million in a day sometimes on a good day. There's some background people, but in terms of people who are like very public, in terms of people who are like fully transparent and public, who've like shared their months and their years, things like that. I'd say probably Crispy. Shout out to Crispy, by the way. Right now it's probably Save though, in terms of people who are public. The guy makes like 30,000 every day. It doesn't even sound real, right? If you're new to the market and you're hearing me say this, you might be thinking, yeah, whatever. But once you dial into certain communities, Twitter, um, different chat room. I'm pretty sure every bigger YouTuber, whether it's Humble, Tim Sykes, um, Ross, whoever else, once you get into all these different communities, you'll end up coming across people who've, made millions and millions. But yeah, even on Twitter, of course, there maybe it's a little bit more broad because you don't know who's who in terms of transparency, but a lot of the times you'll be able to like figure out like who's actually doing what. But there's some big traders for sure. Some people having $500,000 days every day as like a normal person, but their strategy is really good and it allows for that type of thing, and it's just like clockwork. Maybe they'll have red days as well of a similar size, but maybe they're green 7 out of every 10 10 trading days or something, right? 8 out of every 10. There's some people, they only have one red day a year. And it's like a normal person, you can just walk past on the street, and this person is making half a million every day. 10 million sometimes. There's been some crazy stuff that we've seen. But usually the key is just slow and steady gains, no matter where the person is with their size and or experience. You know, whether you're making $100 a day or 1,000 a day, 10,000 a day, it's all relative, right? So yeah, in terms of the bigger traders who are a little bit more public, shout out to the Team House guys. There's some other names I could mention, but these guys, they're not as like, I know I have an idea of how much they make, but they're not like putting it out there, so I'm not gonna even like, get into that. At the end of the day, we need people to also feel safe, right? The pastor isn't gonna come on here and just like, yeah, hey, this person does XYZ. No, 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 no. If you're in the chat room, you'll know, but if you're not, then Yeah, I have so if I pull up my other side of the screen, I do have the MACD over here. The MACD. The MACD. Please tell me who makes millions and where they live. Okay, I make millions and my address is 123 Relentless Drive Lane. Come find me. And I live in a dead end. And my house is the only house on the block. Come prepared, because I will be ready. You know what else they asked me? They asked me what's my password and my username. Username is Relentless. Password is Relentless. Relentless123. Now you can go access my millions and have a ball. There's always some jokes that we'll make for people coming into the team house. Because we'll do like a screening on everybody, right? Like if we're to invite someone, like if they're staying there, we'll like screen them. Like they have to send in certain things just to be safe, right? Because you can't be too safe. Never traded from 4 a.m. straight. The longest I've done actually hasn't even included pre-market, but there were days last year where we went from 9 a.m. to 4 and sometimes to 4:30. Actually, not even trading after hours, but hanging out and watching something go up with a group of people. Like sometimes we'll hang out in the chat room and like have conversations, things like that, via a voice channel. So it's as if you're on a phone call, just hanging out. Sometimes it kind of gets a little wild. There's some jokes, things like that. Taking international members? Sure, why not? You can always feel free to join the community. 123 Relentless Drive Lane, New York, New York. That sounds about right. Yeah, the longest we've went is till to 4 p.m. Like 9 to 4. We've done that a couple of times. I call it, the all-nighter. But for some people, that's every day, right? Most days it's just a couple hours, and then we're doing other things. I've definitely made more from breakouts compared to dips. Um, but dips could have more potential because typically a breakout is going to happen after a dip has held up. And so if I can catch the dip and then hold that through the breakout, then you'll make more. There've been some good trades that I've gotten over the years, but I need to see more frequency with good dips, right? Like right now at the open, the dips for me, I've been getting murdered on the dips. But even some breakouts can be like in the form of a dip too. Like if the stock is let's say we're at like a flat top and then there's like a small pullback, maybe like 15 cents, and then it rips up. Sometimes you could consider that like a dip, but still more so of a breakout. You see, being in the space of the public, right? You gotta like if you're like there's people who are I'm seeing they're live streaming and they're like in 24-hour live streams around, let's say, like Paris or something. And it's like, man, this is kind of crazy to see because people can see where you are. The video isn't being uploaded after the fact, right? It's like if you're going to a restaurant and you're live streaming where you're going and where you are, and it's like the location is so public. Most people who are trading are pretty sane people, but you never know. What is the next team? Where's the next team house and in what state? The next team house is going to be in Spain. We're going to Spain. And I'll give you one better. I'll even give you the dates too. It's going to be in Spain in late July. So if you're in that country, you might be able to spot us. We're going to Spain. That will be a nice experience. Actually, the flights are much cheaper than I actually thought too. I don't know why I was thinking the flights were gonna be like 2,000. I guess there's a couple of people from Spain. Chicago. When people talk about America, they're referring to New York, California, Florida, and Texas. All the other states are cooked in the sense of just the hot spots, right? Of course, we know there's some other beautiful states, right? Arizona was really lovely. I'm pretty sure, Oregon, Washington, a couple of these other states have a lot of good things to offer. Louisiana, right, etc. Te- Texas. Texas is also part of the big, what is it, the Big Five? Big Four? Right, exactly. Like no one is gonna go to Detroit, like Cleveland, like these type of cities no one is like looking to go to in that way. Of course, there's attractions and things that are, I don't want to sound too crazy here. There's something beautiful about every city. Chicago, it's known for the pizza. I heard the pizza there is probably number one in the country. But no one is going to New Haven, Connecticut, right? Baltimore. When did I come to the States? Like 2005, 6, 7, somewhere there. Yeah, Texas is, the barbecue over there. Heard some good things. I still haven't been yet, but the time will come. I'm looking forward to Dallas because there's some people I know there. But of course, San Antonio and Austin should be fun as well. Dave Portnoy, I've seen some of his pizza reviews. He seems. Actually, I've seen something else about him that I thought was pretty interesting. This is like way off topic though. So his ex-wife has access to all his money, which I think is quite interesting. Not judging, just it's interesting. The oldest trader is like 35. Man, it's so dead. It's like, I mean, it's insane how nothing is hitting. And we are at 8:30, so we could see something here. I'll keep an eye in the next minute, next 2, 3 minutes, just in case something hits. Age, the team house, it's not really about age. Um, how did the people who joined even join? I'm thinking like Marcelo and I were kind of like cool. Marcelo joined the community like anybody else, right? Actually, he was somebody who would be like asking questions here. Like he even told me, like RT would say my name, and it's like, oh wow, like my name was called. You guys know how it is, right? Like if I say H1 Media, Eric D1, right? It's like, oh wow, RT mentioned my name there, nice. So from there, I think he joined the chat room, and then there's a day that the chat room is where it really happens for everyone, right? You join a chat room, and then people kind of just become friends. There's a day he's like, man, I think I turned the corner, and he even sends me a video that I put a part of my recap that day. And that's kind of how he ended up joining the community and the team. Crispy lives like 5 minutes away from me. That's how we ended up meeting up. At first, we didn't even know. And it's like, hey, where do you live? Where do you live? And it's like, well, I live right here. And it's like, oh, wow, you're across the street. That's how I ended up becoming friends with him. And then I can't remember Save story. I don't know. It's interesting because it just kind of happened. But there were actually other people who were supposed to be there too, like older people even. We had High on Stocks also invited us to his place. He, he was cool. Um, I mean, there's been a lot of great people, man. Pre-market trader comes to mind. Twin. There's been a lot of great people and a lot of great conversations. Nikki, shout out to you if you're watching. When will Ross be coming to the team house? You know, Marcelo has Ross on speed dial. He can FaceTime him at any time. So maybe sometime soon. Vitali, what's up, man? Shout out to Vitali, right? So I back in the days before the community got as big, I'd have video calls with traders all over the world, like a bunch of different people. Like it'd be study sessions that would then lead to conversations. Sometimes it'd be genuine questions that would lead to conversations. And so I tell people that I spoke to like hundreds of traders. Vitali, I'm okay, and hopefully, I believe it was a girl. Hopefully my niece is doing well. And Vitali's in the tri-state area here, so you know what, we're gonna meet up at some point. Raphael, also a big time short seller who was in the chat room. I have no idea where he is now. Some people they kind of just disappear. And these are people who back then he was already making like 10,000 a day, like as in for like 2-3 years straight, like 2020 to 2023, and then haven't seen him in like a year and a half. It's hard to think that because when you're making that much money for so long, right? You're already diversified. Like there's just no way all that money's just in your trading account still, you would have bought property, you would have had like a portfolio, all these different. So when I think about someone like that, there's no way like they just blew up or something. It can't really happen at a certain point because you've already done all the correct things. These are also, we met a lot of people from our virtual meetups, now that I'm thinking about it. So we do virtual meetups where we'd go into the chat room and we would put a face behind a voice, a face behind a text. And so we'd all show up with our cameras turned on and literally introduce ourselves like 40 people, 20 people at a time, taking turns like one by one, like, who you are, how long you've been trading. We'd keep it simple, but this at least allow people to, have a little bit more trust, right? Just knowing who the person is, seeing who they are. Some people you hear their voice and then you see their face and it's like, well, I didn't expect you to look like that, right? Like sometimes it'll be like a softer voice and then the person is like jacked, like they're going to the gym every day. Shout out to Wrong Bet as well, right? Wrong Bet, another great guy. We were supposed to do Texas before we, go international, but we'll probably do Texas later. We'll have to do it because it's just such a massive presence here in the States. Probably gonna do Aspen at some point too. Get in some skiing. That should be fun. I gotta go. So in the tri-state area here, there's the American Dream Mall, which has, I think there's a massive slope in there. You can go and practice your skiing and snowboarding. So if I'm gonna go to Colorado, I gotta go there and get a couple reps in at least, so I know what I'm doing. I heard skiing is quite challenging. Yeah, then you got some of the people with longer hair and stuff like that. Yeah. By the way, from when so back in the days, I used to save every stock on this watch list here on E-Trade. This is like 2022. Yeah, 2022, 2021. Look at how many stocks have been delisted. If we come down, like look at this. And some of you guys will remember some of these names here. APTO. This is one of the first stocks I ever traded, actually. ISIG, YTEN, EXPR. This one right here, EXPR, was actually on the same day as GameStop. A lot of people will remember this one. Look at all these delisted stocks here. And I stopped adding stocks this years ago, so it should be much longer. DMPI also sounds a little familiar. CLD, SSC, ZAIS also sounds familiar. Some of them maybe you might have gotten a bigger green day, so it stands out a little more, or a bigger red day as well also stands out a little more. Some of them we probably never traded. MOSY also sounds interesting. This one I remember trading at least a couple times. NXTD. Some of them seem kind of recent too. NXTD. Maybe about a year ago. All in the depths. Maybe turned into pink sheets. Or just straight up gone. STAF. Business as usual, I suppose. Some of you guys I'm also following on Instagram, actually. Not a ton of people, but you know, a couple people. I do have a sibling that trades. He's in the sim, and he's been trading. So he's one of those stories where it's like he's been trading for a while and still dialing it in. He's had some success, though, I will say. I mean, he's had some massive success in and out of the sim. But you know, when you're seeing green, you know, you got to do everything in your power to make sure you retain your earnings. So for me, like this has been a slower year, and like my equity curve hasn't really dropped. You know, the last thing the last thing is that we're like losing money. We don't want to lose money. It's bad enough if you're going sideways because the opportunity cost of not making money is already a problem, right? But you can't afford to lose money in a consistent downtrend. Let's see. If I'm to pull up my trader view here, if I'm to pull up my trader view and we look at the dude, I was seeing Marcelo's equity curve. So Marcelo's doing his recaps, right? I was looking at Marcelo's like cumulative drawdown, and it's just so smooth, man. Like it's like, let me see if I can bring up my drawing tool here. The Mighty's equity curve in terms of like a drawdown was like this, like barely anything, and then back up, like just so consistent. So this has been, you know, like this sideways patch right here. The key is to try to never let this like really like break down, you know. If this starts to trend down, then it's like you're giving back away too much of the progress. Even if you're trending up, you gotta still, you know, you don't want to like lose too much in these areas. But the key, the number one thing is to try to keep going, even if it's slowly, to keep just climbing, climbing, climbing. So this is one of the longer sideways periods. You know, if we look back maybe here, and then here. This one also. And then here, I think this was pretty early in our like trading though. This one was the longest one. This was like October to February, or maybe even August to February. There's also a slow incline here too. So every now and again, you know, you kind of have it. Even here was like very slow, gradual. And this is like a couple hundred bucks a day kind of thing here. Day trading, man. Now I can tell you guys what it feels like when you have a really awesome month, awesome week. Let's look at February compared to May of this year, right? February of last year compared to May of this year. When you're having this type of green here, right? You're showing up and you're having monster weeks like this. You start to feel, might I use the word invincible? These type of weeks will make your confidence go where no man's confidence or woman's confidence has been ever before. Man, this was the week where I told myself I no longer need to buy a lottery ticket ever in my life again. That buying a lottery ticket is a waste of my money and waste of my time. And that skills is what will take me, knowledge, skills, experience is what will take me into the next stratosphere, right? And then you fast forward to May of this year, and then you ask yourself, what are you doing with life? You know, is trading even? Let's go to net. Is trading even making any sense here? You know, May of 2025 is like, what am I doing with my life? Should I have went and become a CPA? You know, because that's what I was studying in university before I left. Should I have just become a CPA? You know, what am I doing with life here? But of course, you know, you're kind of just joking around a little bit, but you do remember and understand that this is business, and all businesses will have like a hotter cycle, slower cycle, hotter months, colder months, things like that. And ultimately, we have control. If you want to show up here every day and just trade one share, you can. 10 shares, you can. If you're somebody who's down 10 times this amount, 100 times this amount, you're down 800K, you can always reduce your share size. You can always, because, you know, some people, they're starting with different amounts of capital, different financial situations. So being down 800K for someone else could be down like 8K for me, right? Which is like, oh yeah, whatever. But still, we have control. We can reduce our risk. We can take a step back. There's always an option to refine, study more, and then come back stronger. A lot of bigger red days here too, right? This one, and this one right here especially stands out. 19, just too many big red days here. Got boiled in oil. And the worst part about this is that this is going to Wall Street. Some guy just walked out of the exchange on this month, you know, yeah, I got RT, I got him good, like feeling nice, you know. Their pockets feeling a little bit more heavy, taking a couple bucks from me here. So we never want to give back money to Wall Street. They already have enough. That's how I think about it. Some guy went straight from Wall Street just on to Fifth Ave and went to go to Louis Vuitton, taking RT's money and going shopping here. Yes, those are the kind of lame jokes that I'll be making here. But anyhows, nothing is moving still, and we're keeping ourselves entertained here. The ups and downs, the peaks and the valleys, the ebb and the flow, the cycle. Day trading. So we have a blank canvas here to make our own, right? 6 months. 6 months of trading to make our own. Nothing's stopping me right now from dialing it in. And so I do think staying optimistic in that sense is good if you're someone who's been read your entire trading career and you're like looking to improve, looking to get better. There's nothing stopping you from the next month, the next day, the next week from performing, at a better standard, a better rate, right? So we need to do everything in our power to ensure success, right? Everything in our power to ensure success. That's the key. So don't skip study time. Don't skip, reviewing your trades. Do everything that you can to gain an edge and an advantage. Because when you do get to the other side, it is nice, right? Like if we come back to the monthly calendars again, for everyone who is upholding their consistency in the chat room, if we come back to the P&L section here and show you guys, I want to go to the monthly calendars from last month. CMND. Hold up. It's looking good. Hold up, hold up. CMND. Is there something here? The high was 28 though. Pulling back a bit already. Okay, lows of 08. I don't know. It's a little, can we make the new high and continue? There's 29. Like I want to see 30, 35, 40, and so forth. But I don't know. There's a little too much hesitation. Can we pull away? If not, it's not going to be worth it. For what I'm looking for specifically. Could be worth it for some, something else. There's a bid. Is there a bid there? Looks like it disappeared. I'm gonna give it a couple more minutes, just in case it does take off, but kind of on the sidelines here for now. It's definitely more of a slow grind for sure. Feels a little thickly traded. But it's, again, it's not bad. We did have a double bottom in 22, right? Low 20s, maybe a high 30 exit. I realized the VWAP was actually right here on the first pullback. But anyhows, it's a slow grinder. We'll see if it ends up holding up and, maybe going through 50. The volume there is pretty high on that red candle. Well, I've actually had a lot of red days this year. I'm seeing there's a question asking, how do you keep your days from being red? I think the key though is to well, it starts with your rules, right? I think that's the first thing. It sounds like you had a really good year last year. You got to look back to everything that you did really well back then in terms of your rules, even if the market was slightly better, yeah, but still consider your rules, right? In terms of your rules of engagement, your risk to reward ratio, your mental state as it relates to over trading, revenge trading, um, and then the technicals. So we're going to break down the VWAP and get a reclaim here. Not bad. So our selling volume right there on the 5-minute candle that closed was pretty high. So for me, despite the MACD not really crossing over, thinking that pullback there was looking a little weaker, but it held up. So it took some good strength here. Now this does encourage me to take a trade if there's another entry along the way here, either like a retest of the level, or maybe it goes and then holds up for a new range. Yeah, but your red days, you don't want your red days to be too big relative to what you've been able to produce on hotter days. We got 30, 28 to 48. Will we see a quick pullback before break of 50? It might not pull back. I'm watching some quick trades here though. Let's just see what it does. It's still early. It could lose this. Right now it has a lot of volume, so it could lose this steam. It could lose this steam. Or it could go too. We'll see. How far will we go? $49, $48. We got $53. Do we need that pullback here? Or will we maybe get to 60 before an actual dip? Do we need that pullback? So sometimes, you'll see that push right up to 60, 70, but we might need the pullback first. So it's key right here to watch this, how it comes down. Try to position myself for a trade here. Only 47 so far, which is still, pretty high. Saying 44 to low. Is that it? So it's gonna be pretty tight if that's it. Didn't really get any real selling there. Time 03. Willing to re-average here too, with watching at least for a small starter. We'll see what it does. I probably should have took a little bit more size, but still, that's fine. So some in these situation like that, I think that the stock could go lower. So I'm like gonna be willing to just keep buying because the dip looks good. But if that's the low and as low as we're gonna go, then I'm not gonna get the full size, which does happen from time to time. The VWAP is actually 36. Candle's about to close though, so we'll see. So we're closing the candle with a little bit of selling towards the support here again. We'll see if it continues to hold. Will we go right through 53? Or do we need to stutter again here? I'm willing to take it for a breakout trade if it keeps going, so I'll get back in again, but like a normal hot stock would have already ripped to like 55, 60, 65, right in that same moment there. But it's coming back down again. I like that we did have some buying into the new candlestick though. So basically watching the same trade again here. Willing to re-average if I need to. Got to be careful of it actually coming down though, being that we do have our new candle again. Or the shot, but this time we're coming back down. It's important to see if it reclaims here too. Maybe it does, right? I'm gonna throw out like a small position just to see. I had 600 shares going up and then 2,000 shares in the last position, which is why I'm at a net negative there on those two. CMND, GITS, BTOG, BTOG. Oh shoot. And this one's been going up. Although the volume, oh yeah, the volume looks good. BTOG, and I don't know about GITS though. $16 to $20. No bounce at the VWAP there for CMND. It's coming down. I think back to the sidelines. Back to the sidelines. And what was I talking about before? We had some action there. We spoke about a big green month versus a bigger red month. The ebb and the flow, the high and the low, the swings. Oh yeah, in terms of keeping the red days small, if your average green day on a hot market is, let's just say, 5K, right? You don't want to be losing 5K on just like a normal day. Like, can it happen where maybe it was harder to manage risk and, maybe a higher price stock or something and, it happens? Yeah, but we don't want to be bleeding out at that rate. You gotta find a way to at least tread water, survive, and then start thriving again. Such a hard word to say. Start thriving again over time. We don't want to wipe out LIXT from yesterday. I think for me, there's also some, like fundamental things that I'm having a hard time with. I'm very used to trading a specific type of way. I've never really been great at trading the range and or downtrends. I think a lot of this has to do with me starting out as a breakout trader, and I've traded breakout for like the entire first year of my trading. And so it's definitely something to keep working on to improve, right? Because as we know, no one is coming to save us. It is up to us to make the change. So even if it takes me 10,000 years, better sooner than later, though. LIXT moving up a bit. How's the daily chart, by the way? 270. Actually, yeah, this looks decent. I'm going to get on this one here. Let's see, 280 for highs. Uh-oh, it's moving. See, that's an issue right there, trying to get that fill. Okay, cool. It's moving. It has potential. doesn't seem as liquid for some reason with the fills, but man, that was a tough dip to buy. New highs at 330. I'm gonna stick to smaller size for now. Like, is there a hidden buyer here? No, there's not. Okay, 310, 306. All right, I'm gonna use size. Mm, damn it, man. It's like it's not as obvious right there for that bit of a pullback. See, I could make money. I just have to wait for what I need, you know? Get me out. It's kind of dipping here, so I'm gonna give it a sec. 35. We can dial in a little something something. That held up, and the highs are at 64. It's fluctuating a lot more now, so want to be careful. Let me pull up the MACD here with a little bit of assistance for backside potentially. Okay. Where's the VWAP? The VWAP is all the way down in the depths. We got a high of 64. And just like that, back to 50. I don't like that it's like that right there, the volume was high, it gets to 50 and it stalls out and it's back down 10 cents immediately. It's a little bit more risk than I'd want to see on a stock like this. That is tough. That's my fault though. I took a while to buy that dip. Oh, that is tough, dude. No continuation. All right. Where is it now? It moved up, didn't it? Son of a... So I was waiting for it to go lower. Oh my gosh, that was my fault completely. I should have had a nice 10-cent trade there. But will the stock have enough to curl back up, or is this it, you know? We got to protect our gains at least. Yeah, that might be it. Right, I already said to myself I'm gonna take that trade, and then I just don't realize how much the VWAP is coming up. Right, came up like 3 or 4 cents. That's fine. Gotta be quick. The VWAP moved up a little bit. See, this setup was decent. You know, the daily candle make a new high. It's back at 30. Is this right? Why does this look like this? Double check. Ah, that's interesting. Big move here back to. Holy smokes. Does it mean business? I want to see a new high out of this thing. Can we see a new high? The VWAP now near 20. There's risk here for sure. There's risk. There's always risk. Didn't expect it to give the red to green below VWAP there, but yeah, I forgot to go live in the chat actually here. And I'm missing the dip, brother. You see that? You see how that plays out for me? You know, I literally look away for 1 second, man. I only got like starter size. If I can see how it's dropping, I'm more confident to buy it with actual size there. Missing the dip. Stock will probably be active right into the open, is my guess. All right, it's pulling back again. 308. I guess the watch list is just LIXT, guys. You know, back in the days, I had rules where I wouldn't even trade a stock over $10. Thinking maybe to bring back those rules here for the time being. These stocks over 10 have been mad. As S-bet hits the scans there a little bit. 4 minutes to the open, watching LIXT, although we are pulling back here right now. You know, I'm gonna take it slow and probably shut it down early. Today's a half day anyways. Markets will be closed at 1 p.m. So keep that in mind. For anybody holding positions longer, holding trades longer, just a heads up. Also, as you're tuning in, be sure to hit the thumbs up. We haven't really mentioned it here. We got 600 people, so of course we expect to see 600 likes. Can we do it? Yeah, I think shutting it down early, we already got some green, you know, will be a good idea here. Yesterday we were green 450 pre-market, red everything in the open, so man, I just still can't believe how the traders who are like locking in some of these gains, man, those trades at the lows and those reclaim trades, even when the volume is dead, and then like there's that one candle that stands out, you know, and getting in, holding longer. This market, I tell you. But pre-market is gonna lead the charge here. I have a good feeling. Man, you know, I can see it in my mind, so I can hold it in my hands. That's the good news. Multiple stocks I should have been up. CV today I should have been up thousands, man. So I'm seeing it in my mind, which means it's a matter of time before it materializes. And then we can get on the way with this year. Enough of this slow grind. We need the boost. The afterburners. So we're back at 305 here. And I'm going to throw out a starter trade actually at 08. Let's just see if this does result into anything. What was the high? 5? Not too bad. What's the lows? Okay, the lows are kind of low, but okay. I'm just looking to see if it does want to get back above 315. If not, okay. And my left knee is donezo. Triad, man. Is Triad here? Triad, man. Only if you're in the States right now. It would have been an ideal time. And also, shout out to Pete, right? Who knows? Maybe he's actually listening in today. Today would have been a nice time. Okay, so LIXT at 290 could already be backside here, especially according to MACD. See the MACD. We're in the depths. Put castor oil on the knee. So I had a injury to my left knee doing leg press back in 2017, and like a maniac, I never went to the doctor or to the hospital. So I could have like a torn what do they call it? Man, a torn damn ACL. Yeah, there we go. ACL. Could have something and just not know, you know. Now if I'm carrying any weight going upstairs, I'm cooked. Quick push to 20. Quick push to 30. Let me reduce my size. Let's not forget. Almost went in with a little bit more size than I would have liked here. Didn't expect this type of move here. But 44 for the highs. Pre-market highs are at 64. I definitely didn't expect that. That felt like a bit of a blitz, you know, a very quick push off of 295, 295 right up, you know. 34. You know what? I gotta I think I gotta give the pullbacks a little bit more time. I think I gotta give the pullbacks a little bit more time. And as I'm saying that, hopefully this one doesn't sell off here. A little bit more time. Paper hands, as we're seeing new lows. Paper hands. Okay, cutting it. And our candle just gave back everything, man. Man, that was a strong candle too to start. There's still another 2 minutes, but 305 for the lows. Taking the low of day dip here. Come on, low of day dip. Do not blaze me. Retest of the lows, curling back up. Can we see back over 3? $302, $304. Okay, okay. You know Big Steve is in there 10,000 shares, all right? Big Steve, getting it done. And I like to just say that to just, you know, hype up Big Steve. I know he's probably not in there. Well, he's definitely not in there that type of size. Okay, okay, we got a little red to green going here. Bottoming wick. Bottoming wick. But our 5-minute candlestick is still in the rough waters here. Oh, come on, man. As soon as I'm thinking I have a good hold, a good grip. Okay. This is where I consider walking away. See, it's pretty early still into the open, but we didn't reject the VWAP. Come on. I think I might lock it in. What do you guys think? CMND. I'm gonna lock in the 650 and call it a day here. You know, at the end of the day, when I started trading, this is the dream, right? Can you make something, 600 bucks? It's still something. And it's 9:35 a.m. What more do I need? I need nothing more but to go enjoy this beautiful long weekend. Green is green, and yesterday we're in the same situation. We go from green 430 to red, so the open can have it. And this is such a beautiful green candle to start, but it's gonna give back everything. And of course we're still in somewhat of a range here, so maybe there's still gonna be bounce opportunities for the highs and the lows. BMNR, GITS, those are hitting. BMNR, although it's $60 though. 281, 481 for highs, 481. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Taking my 568 and walking away. Bro, no dip holds up anymore. I'm like, okay, let me give this one a chance. See if it holds 50. It's at 40. Taking my $600, my $500, and skedaddling. These damn stocks, man. For those of you who came in the chat room around 9:20, I was here since 7 a.m. trading the pre-market. So Marcelo will keep going till about maybe 12 before he shuts it down. But the Pastor is taking the early exit, taking the $540 and hitting the road. Enjoy the long weekend. Remember today's half day, 1 p.m. close Eastern time, market time, and we'll be back on Monday. Today is Thursday. Friday, the markets are closed, so we'll be back on Monday. We'll have a Q&A in the chat room for those of you who are students. We'll see you guys. Come with your questions on Sunday the 6th, all right? Marcelo will be hosting the Q&A, but I will be tuning in as well just to hang out and, see if I can gain any information. It's always good to study, review, that type of thing. So enjoy the weekend, guys. Have a good one. Stay safe. Stay green.